Ichibei Hyosube engages in battle with someone who had been imprisoned for a long time. The head captain of the Soul Reapers, Bonza, who calls the true name, is the first whose spiritual sword evolved. He is leading in the fight and is about to defeat Yuwach. Were you waiting for the continuation of the legendary story? If you wanted to learn more about it, there's much to tell. Thousand-year blood war. Conflict is an arc with a combat plot, but how does it continue? How did Ichigo manage to resurrect Ichibei? And much more can be found out in this 7-minute clip. What happened before and what will happen next? One of the members of Squad Zero wants to show the power of the organization. 3 teammates sacrifice themselves. Only Shunzomaru remains alive. She ignites in flames, which then disappear. Gerard Valkyrie notes that her team couldn't handle them in groups of 4, so what can she do alone? But the Soul Reaper notes that their power is immense and could shake all 3 worlds. That's why they merged their powers and sealed them into the true sword. Just now, in exchange for 3 lives, the Blood Oath seal was lifted. Shunzomaru reveals her Bankai and weaves a trap. Ichigo's team senses the spiritual pressure and assumes that Shunzomaru has activated her Bankai. Wataru Takagi is shocked by her power. Kurosaki explains that he previously met with Squad Zero, which is why his Zanpakuto, the clothes he wears, and his new powers were received from them. And these guys are super powerful in every aspect. While the team relaxes, Shunzomaru lures Squad Zero deeper into her traps. Each member individually. First, she weaves the first thread, the thread of 1,000 eyes. The first look blinds them. The second thread weaves steel armor. The third, the womb of black sand that takes away life. The fourth thread, a cold sheet you lie on and you won't wake up. Everyone would want this in the summer heat. The fifth, the fiery wasteland that turns you to ash. The sixth, stars in the black night. This is the Death Star that foretells death. Let's return to Ichibei Hyosube, who continues his fight with the 900-year-old Yuwach. The Emperor of Vandenreich thought he had already won, but the head is not that simple. His power materialized in the blackness that belongs to him, and no one can withstand Ichimonji. Ichibei gives his opponent a new name, Ant, with the help of his sword. This head once gave names like Bankai, Shikai, and Spiritual Sword. Later, he avenges the deceased Soul Reapers and crushes Yuwach with a force that causes him to fall into the void. Surprised? But this is just the prelude to the continuation. And further, Yuwach falls. You haven't forgotten that his eyes were closed, right? He was even surprised that he saw the battle with his eyes closed. Upon opening them, you could notice that the man had several pupils. Returning to Hyosube, Yuwach pierces him with a sword. And now, after 900 years, the heart of the imprisoned Quincy King begins to beat again. His mind is restored in 90 years, and in 9 years, his strength returns. And no, he wasn't fighting with closed eyes for fun. It was due to his power, which he would lose control over if he opened his eyes before the 9 years were up. But the time has come. His eyes now possess the ability to see the distant future, and now no one can resist his strength, which he is fully aware of. This is power worthy of the Quincy Kings, and its name is Almighty. Uryu received power along with the awakening of the king, but Shunzomaru continues to call him a pathetic Quincy. She binds Ishida with fabrics and is about to stab him. And the plan would have worked if Uryu had Yuwach's blood, but we'll return to that later. Meanwhile, Yuwach will conduct a briefing on his power. He didn't die and knew he wouldn't lose, but Ichibei still resists. He gathers darkness and threatens with the Black Force. He created graves to consume the enemy from which they cannot be reborn. Yuwach sees everything ahead and says to the commander that his power cannot be understood, nor can a countermeasure be found. Everything his eyes see loses its power. He beheads the Soul Reaper. Got the idea? That's the same power the Stern Ritter now has, and so does Uryu. He grows blue wings, shoots Shunzomaru in the heart, who got caught in her own Bankai, and kills her. The other members of his squad also survive as the fabrics disappear. The Vandenreich squad reunites with their leader and pledges allegiance. The whole group heads to the Soul King to destroy him, climbing the appearing staircases. For 1,000 10,000 years, there was only emptiness in the souls of the Quincy. A holy war has begun to eradicate the root of evil. In general, it's clear that Yvach, to put it mildly, doesn't like the Soul King, the ruler of the three worlds. After a brief ending and corresponding fight, Kurosaki's squad emerges from hiding and sees Osu's head. Ichibei calls out to Ichigo. At first, the boy doesn't understand what's going on, but the head asks him to say his true initials and name. When Kurosaki does this, Hyosube is resurrected. The power of a being lies in its name, and when the head of the Soul Reapers was called by name, he gained a bit of the main character's strength and was restored. The man asks Ichigo to stop Yvach, as no one else can. Squad Zero is defeated. The head has regained his body, but not his power. It will take a long time to restore. The main goal is to stop the enemy, not even to kill him, but to save the Soul King. This is the key to the world. If he dies, the world of the living, Hueco Mundo, and the Soul Society will fall and disappear without a trace. Ichigo Kurosaki promises to protect the Soul King. Meanwhile, the Quincy King pierces another person with his sword, saying, "Farewell, Soul King. The one who sees the future is my father." The farewell bells ring until the blade kills you. Thus ends episode 28, loudly titled, Kill the King. And what happens next, time will tell.